And welcome back to Backspace Academy. So we've covered quite a bit of ground, and I think it's probably time that we take a little bit of a step back right now and have a look at what our infrastructure looks like, or what it's going to look like, where it is now and where it's going to end up at the end of the course. So as we can see there, we've created our Amazon S3 bucket. We have our website uploaded to Amazon S3, and we've also enabled Amazon S3 static site hosting. So we can now access that website using the S3 domain name. So it will be yourdomain.com and then a whole heap of stuff after that with the S3 domain. So obviously we would like to have it pointing directly to ourdomain.com, whatever that may be. So we need to use Amazon Route 53 to do that. But before we get to that stage, I would like to implement another layer in front of that Amazon S3 bucket. And that's using the CloudFront service. And what that will do is that we will create a CloudFront distribution. And that will be a copy of our Amazon S3 bucket, or our website inside of our Amazon S3 bucket. And the CloudFront service will distribute that across well over 50 edge locations across the globe. And that's going to give us a couple of advantages. First of all, we're going to have good durability of our website. It's going to be able to take massive hits of demand and still stay upright. We're also going to have really good security around DDoS attacks, which is a very common attack which can take out your website. And again, CloudFront helps with that. And very importantly, our end users are going to get really fast response to your website by having that located where they are, or as close as possible to where your end users are located. We're also going to use the CloudFront service with HTTPS, and so it'll be doing that decryption for us. And so we've already created our certificate in the certificate manager, so we're going to reference that to in our CloudFront distribution. And then once that's all done, we can go into the Route 53 domain name service, and we can point all of our requests for HTTP or HTTPS through to those edge locations located across the globe. So we've come a long way. We're about halfway there, and you're going to end up with a pretty good, robust solution for hosting your HTML5 website. So without any further ado, we'll get into creating this CloudFront distribution. So again, go to Services, go to CloudFront, and that will take you to the CloudFront Management Console. If you've never created a CloudFront distribution, this will be empty. You won't have any distributions there. So first thing we need to do is to create distribution. And we're going to be doing a web distribution. We're not going to be doing streaming video, so that's not RTMP. We're going to be doing a web distribution. So let's click on Get Started for Web. And under Origin Domain Name, now that is going to be the HTTP endpoint for our website, our Amazon S3 website. So that's going to be the backspaceacademy.com or whatever your domain name is, and S3 Amazon. So it's going to be the S3 domain there. So we just select that from the drop. It should come in a drop down automatically for you when you click on the box. The origin path. So if we're going to host our website off a folder within that bucket, then we would use that, but we're not. The origin ID is we'll just leave that as it is. We don't need to restrict bucket access, and we don't need to do custom headers. We just ignore that. We'll leave all this exactly the same. Now what we've got here is the time to live. So the default there is 86,400 seconds, which is 24 hours. So what that means is that the CloudFront service will grab a copy of the website and it will put it into its CloudFront distribution, and it will distribute that across all of the edge locations. After 24 hours, that will expire, and it will go back to the Amazon S3 service and get another copy. So make sure that the website or what is being delivered is never more than 24 hours old. And we'll look at later on, after this, we'll look at what you do if you update your website and you need to actually change that. You don't want to wait 24 hours to have your CloudFront distribution updated. You can actually invalidate that CloudFront distribution, and it will force CloudFront to go back to Amazon S3 and get another copy of your new website if you need it done very quickly. So we'll leave that at 24 hours. 24 hours is normally good enough. It's not a problem. If you have it quite a lot, so just say if you had it updating every 10 minutes, and that means you're going to get costs involved in transferring that data across to CloudFront quite regularly, and you don't want to do that. So you really just want to update your CloudFront distribution at when it needs to be done. So we'll ignore forward cookies and all of this here. It's not particularly relevant for us. So we're going to use all edge locations, which will give us good web performance. Now, we are going to be using an alternate domain name, and that is going to be our domain name that we purchased. So we'll put that in there. Okay, so there's our domain name that's put in there. And we also want to enable SSL or HTTPS. So we need to have a reference to our SSL certificate. So we're going to get our custom SSL certificate, and we're going to select it from the drop-down list. So there is our backspaceacademy.com certificate that we created in certificate menu. So we just scroll down a little bit further, and we're going to go to default root object. So what that means is if someone just types in the domain with nothing added, it will always go to this file. So we obviously, I'll just click on the information, probably gives a better explanation than I can say myself. So optional, the object that you want CloudFront to return, for example, index.html, when a viewer requests points to your root URL, for example, www.example.com, instead of to a specific object in your distribution. So that's what we want to do. So I'm just going to copy that over. Okay, so put in our index.html, so we know that we've got an index.html file, and if someone goes to our domain, it will automatically direct them to that file, which is exactly what we want. So that's everything finished. All we need to do now is to click on Create Distribution, and it will start creating that distribution for us. Okay, and you can see there it's created that distribution. That distribution won't be quite ready yet, so we'll just click on it for now and just see how it's going. And we can see there we've got our distribution status is in progress. So that will take a bit of a while before it actually creates its CloudFront distribution, and then it will distribute that across all of those 50 or more edge locations across the globe. So now after quite some time, you'll have your distribution status will change to deployed, and that's what we can see has happened here. So that means that that has successfully deployed that across those 50 or so, or 50 or more edge locations across the CloudFront service. In the next lecture, we're going to look at using Amazon Route 53 to direct all of our inquiries or all of our requests to our domain name or our www domain name to this CloudFront distribution. Now, before I do that, I'd like to talk about invalidation. So if you find that you need to update your website and you don't want to wait 24 hours for it to update, you can actually go in and invalidate that distribution, and CloudFront will go back to the Amazon S3 service, and it will get another copy of your S3 website. So you just go into invalidations and you create an invalidation, and then you just put the files that you want to invalidate. If you want to invalidate everything, well, you can just put a wildcard symbol in there and it will invalidate everything for you. And so that will just basically chug away there, and it will go back to Amazon S3 and it will update your CloudFront distribution for you. So I'll see you in the next lesson when we talk about directing our traffic through Amazon Route 53 to this CloudFront service.